back to our safety and security discussion. This is Byron Adera, ex-Kenya Special Forces operator, security expert, consultant, and a blogger. In today's discussion, we are going to delve into what affects our Mpesa chains. Yeah. And these retail outlets, talk about wines and spirits that have become, they're sprawling and everywhere in our estates, towns and mini towns all over. Someone would be forgiven to say that we are a drinking nation, my friend, right? So with me to discuss and break this down into something that's is going to be able to benefit people with the basics as regards to security and safety considerations around these installations is my good friend and CEO, Crime Shield.
Yeah, thank you so much, Byron. Kingsley Litali, the CEO and founder of Crime Shield Security Limited. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Crime Shield Security Limited, all the social platforms.
Amazing.
So thank you so much,
Big
brother, for this amazing opportunity.
Got your back.
Thank you.
And so you'll get more on this platform. So find me on my socials at Byron Adera and Adera B Panther on Facebook. There's a dearth of information that's out there that's going to be able to benefit you. And trust me, this is going to be more helpful if you subscribed, you commented, and shared this, because as I say, you never know who's going to be saved by getting this kind of information. And so, with regards to Mpesa, and we know it as much as every other person that's out there. People have become targets beyond just the Mpesa shops themselves becoming targets for acts of criminality of sorts, and even like say the wines and spirits, because these are the outlets that, especially against the background of the current pandemic. Lockdowns are happening, and there's been pubs and bars or restaurants that had to see some kind of lockdowns to some extent, and they weren't operating. But you'd find out that wines and spirits, fairly much this is why that kind of business has had to find some leverage on what you call the government regulatory kind of protocols. So you find bars and restaurants not working, but we had wines and spirits allowed some bit of time to operate. And again, you remember as much as I do that this is happening against the effects of the pandemic that affected lives and livelihoods in profound ways. And to some extent, we had a gap that these kind of small-time establishments slept in. And so definitely because of their lucrativeness, there's quite a bit of cash or money that's held in the hands of those who are operating therein. So be it those wines and spirits, be it the Mpesa outlets, be it all these other retail installations of sorts. And you and I remember one Richard in Kasarani that was shot, was it seven times? He's lucky to be alive. And he just visited an Mpesa shop. I think we drew a bit of money or deposited some. And before you know it, and it was the owner of the Mpesa shop, as I remember. So there's quite a bit of, insecurities out there that are targeting these outlets that may need us to, subject it to close scrutiny and to help our viewers, and the general populace with something that's going to be able to benefit them with relevant, mitigation measures, and perhaps also to, in a way, help them adjust to relevant ways and means of doing business, because some of these things are pretty critical and people have had to be shot, like the example we've given. And a lot more about to lose their hard-earned monies, by just getting themselves in harm's way or getting themselves vulnerable to all sorts of attack. Perhaps, as we are discussing, by maybe just displaying your Mpesa balance. You withdrew some money and someone insisted and said, oh, let me see that, nionyeshe message, and you just showed someone your balance, and before you know it, you are next into some pub and you just got attacked or targeted for that matter. Yeah,
you told me about that, and it reminded me about my former rugby team player called Jimmy. May God rest his soul in peace.
Oh, sorry.
That is exactly what happened. You find out that at the Mpesa shops, the kind of mitigation strategies towards the threats is minimal.
Yeah,
because people look at it as a small-time business.
Yeah.
Not knowing that with stash of cash inside that premise, you are targeted.
That's what's gonna get targeted.
That is a target.
Yeah.
So there are many things that people will talk about, the small-time businesses or the wines and spirit and Mpesa.
Yeah.
But there are things that you can do as an individual that will really put you out of harm's way. Take for example, you brought up a very critical point about showing your Mpesa message.
Yeah.
That Mpesa operator knows very well that once you do a transaction,
it's
he or
pop
she
into
will.
their phone.
Yes. So what is the point of me showing you my phone? To prove, what am I proving? It is through that where you find that people get your information. People will be able to read your Mpesa balance.
Yeah.
After that, you become a target. You've gone there and probably you've worked hard and you've been paid.
Yeah.
And then you go, probably you've withdrawn from your bank to your Mpesa and you're going
you just
out
want to
there.
have cash.
Yeah.
And so
You're
you go
showing
there.
them. You become a target.
Yeah.
This brings the point of tailgating. Like for my friend Jimmy,
Yeah.
he was tailgating. Tailgating basically means somebody following you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to the Mpesa shop. He withdrew some money, and then after that, immediately somebody saw their balance, and then it is quite sad.
That's sad.
So there are measures that people can take. If you're an Mpesa owner or you're operating an Mpesa, there are very many ways that you can make yourself a hard target. Start with the easiest one, surveillance.
Yeah.
There are CCTV cameras that are all over the place. They are affordable. And there are ones which can be connected wirelessly. Invest in wireless CCTV.
They're IP based, so
IP
you're able
based.
to pretty much check.
Yes,
You don't need to
using your
domicile
phone. Exactly.
the footage,
Yeah.
the recording bit
Exactly.
within that. So if it's attacked, it's also taken out, and that's what happens.
So
you can have it elsewhere. You
Elsewhere,
can pretty
yeah.
much be able to view from wherever.
From wherever, and it gives you real-time information of what is going on.
Yes.
It will also help you as the owner, or if you've employed somebody and you're the owner and you're away,
have a level of responsibility and accountability over what they do.
Yeah, what they do during the day.
Yeah.
And these are small steps that one can take, in order to keep themselves safe. Another thing that I can tell people who want to use Mpesa, and shop, don't make your patterns be known. For most of us, you find that when you're being
Very
paid,
predictable.
you're predictable. You're being paid after every month.
Yeah.
Then people know from the 28th
Between
to
28th
30th,
and 30th, you are moneyed.
Yeah.
Kuta imenga.
Kuta imenga. So you'll just go direct to the Mpesa and you withdraw everything, and you're working with a big stash of cash.
Yeah.
That is putting yourself in harm's way.
True.
What happens is that don't be predictable.
Yeah.
Make your patterns scattered in a way.
Yeah.
In that when you're going to withdraw, you don't just withdraw in one specific Mpesa shop. Because somebody can be tailgating you.
Yeah.
And when they follow you and you're having a lot of money on you,
Yeah.
you might lose your life and
True.
lose your money, and probably you won't get to do whatever you wanted to do with the money you have. To the Mpesa owners, putting a CCTV is one of the key things.
Yeah.
Making sure that your establishment is well grilled.
Yes.
Just the grilling part. Protecting the movement in and out of that establishment on a need-to-go basis.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you have no, I see many Mpesas are usually, there's an Mpesa shop, there's a pharmacy or a boutique
butchery,
or a butchery.
and then there's the next to it, because they're also talking about strategic location.
Yes.
They're looking at where volumes are. So in a lot of cases that I've had to see, trust me, you check a wines and spirit somewhere, and the next installation is the next just right around the corner could be whatever, a pub or something.
Yeah.
That's also sprawling with activity.
Exactly.
So what people do, because wines and spirits are selling at slightly lower rates or something, costs.
Yes.
So people, that's why, it would not make business sense. But if you look at it keenly, that's how the symbiotic relationship. So people would buy and possibly drink from the wines and spirits at rush.
Exactly.
But because they are lacking in other things, so there's a bar next door.
Yeah.
So they go to top up.
Yes.
And perhaps also benefit from listening to music and whatever else that's therein. So there's a symbiotic relationship. And so in most cases, what you'd also find, and it's coming out very strongly here, is that the adversaries, criminals are real living human beings. Blood flowing in their veins and whatever. They're not animals, right? So you find a crowd and people brought together, already that is a factor, a predisposer in itself. And so wines and spirits, and it's where everybody goes. Yeah, everybody goes there. People who are good intentions, they just want to go have one or two and then go home or buy and take away. But then they also provide sanctuaries for veritable thugs of sorts.
Yeah.
And so it's very, very easy. There are things that you can't, and it's very clear from what we actually know, the risk acceptance. There's a level of risk that you got to accept that this you can never ever do away with.
Yeah.
As long as you have a wines and spirits, you have an Mpesa.
Yeah.
But what we are trying to highlight here is that there's a level of protection efforts,
mitigation strategies
that you can pretty much have on your Mpesa, on your wines and spirits, to make yourself a difficult target.
Yeah.
And then what you highlighted as well with regards to the CCTV installations or the properly installed cameras. And that's another thing.
The IP-based one.
The IP-based one, another thing. It's very, very, very important, very vital, because you and I know that the CCTV cameras serve two critical functions.
Yeah.
One is basically for the deterrence, deterrence function of it, which is very important. Someone walks in and sees, there's a camera there that's watching them, and there's not so much they can do about it.
Yeah.
They will be, prevented from
they
perhaps just
disoriented because
absolutely, and you'll think twice about it. And then the other relevant function, which is absolutely critical as well, is for effective post-incident management.
Yes.
That's where we actually have issues as well.
Yeah.
Because you and I know that in most cases you walk around, and we've done surveys in buildings and security audits, and you find sufficient numbers of cameras.
Yeah.
But quite a number of them, and we've been exposed to some clips that are flying around after incidents have happened, or someone's been shot somewhere. The cameras are installed by quacks who have a business mindset.
Yeah.
Oh, we want 100 cameras here, so they make a bit of money out of it. But then their positioning,
the functionality part of it
is all hogwash.
Yeah.
People coming in and the cameras are on top of their heads, and there's no face-on effect.
Yeah.
So the post-incident management, which is another function of CCTVs, sometimes goes really cold and dies on arrival, as they say, because they're not very effective to serve that critical function.
Yeah.
So a number of points coming out of what you are highlighting.
And even you've talked about positioning of the CCTV.
Yes.
The U.S. Army usually talk about element of surprise.
Element of surprise.
And how can you achieve element of surprise when it comes to, having your own establishment?
Yeah.
Okay, right now it is common that every Mpesa establishment has a CCTV camera inside. But believe you me, before that adversary comes in, he's already prepared.
True.
But what kind of actions did you take before he got in?
True.
Instead of having just one CCTV camera inside, if you you have an Mpesa here
and the surrounding areas, the surrounding area,
out. So if right now with the city council, what they call containers that are being put, improvise and put your CCTV cameras that can be able to start from how the traffic is moving.
Yeah.
That way you'll be able to see and mitigate that threat before it happens to
True.
you. You've really increased the distance between you and the adversary.
Yeah.
So if you put your CCTV camera on the outside to see the movement of traffic, human traffic coming in, then you'll be able to study the behavior and be able to come and take steps to mitigate that kind of risk like theft.
Yeah.
One other thing that they need to look at, have you ever asked yourself why you get messages from people who you don't know?
True.
What do they do with the information that are in that
Exactly, very critical
book?
information that you give the guys.
So
if you're going in to deposit money, your number is
you're
there.
You're basically handed over that book.
Absolutely.
You're writing in your details.
Yeah, and you never know where these books are going to end up.
And in most cases, what do you see? That somebody has his own phone, is looking at the phone,
Yeah.
and is writing the details.
Yeah.
Probably this person is just taking a photo of those numbers.
Absolutely.
So you as the custodian of the Mpesa should also be at the forefront of even safeguarding other people's life.
True.
Your customers.
Because that information is very critical,
It's
and
critical.
information is power. In the
Yes.
wrong hands, it may spell disaster to someone.
Exactly, because just alongside there, you're looking at this person has deposited 10,000. This other person has deposited, whatever amount.
And
of
so
money.
you're able to do
You're making that person a target.
quick lifestyle audit of the customers that are basically visiting.
Basically, that has become the
that
norm in
outlet.
Kenya
and,
right
and
now.
Definitely, and this is matters proximity and the way the threats would manifest on them.
Exactly.
There's no way I would go to your village in, let me just say, sweet.
Yes.
To withdraw 20,000 shillings and get back to Nairobi. I have to be in the closest of, I mean, and look at it from the perspective of when people are paying for different utilities of sorts.
Yeah.
You will have where you transact being very, very closest to you. So anyone, as you've just said, landing, that kind of book has quite a number of people that are basically within his area of bad operations for that matter. And you also brought up a very important subject, and I know someone who's listening to this may be struggling with matters, budgetary, and all the way they could control the small establishments that the Mpesa shops are. And I told a friend of mine who had his shop hit, and when we did our analysis and investigations and stuff, I did tell him very strongly, like, what you just said, CCTV cameras, established out there, it doesn't need to be the one that's just well within, because the well within means the target is now up close and candid with this here with you. So someone would be struggling with this idea, like, if I just had a camera out there, what purpose? And the two, how did it be helpful, even in post-incident? And we talked about the two critical functions. One, for that particular establishment and where you're having that kind of asset, trying to control and see what happens with the traffic. Chances are, and people are coming in, would require some kind of getaway vessel. It could be a motorbike, could be a car. And trust me, whenever they present themselves as human beings, and people remember even after that shock, is, oh, it was this man. But they do not know anything as regards to where they went and who they came in. And that's why those cameras would still be absolutely effective. Not just about the deterrence function alone, but effective post-incident management, where they would show, oh, they came in this motorbike and that's the number plate right there, or they came in the car, it was parked 50 meters away, and this is what we saw that guy going back into. Because assuming, like, for example, the guys that shot Mr. Richard in Kasarani or some place like that, is they had a getaway. Once the balloon goes up and the guns is shot, you've announced your presence. I kid you not, it's not going to be the person that's going to be legging it home and running kilometers on end. He had a vehicle or he had a motorbike. And I'm certain that they had a bit of a breakaway because not many people who are within the vicinity were able to reorient themselves quickly and capture some of that vital information. So had they had a camera that captures that surrounding area, it would have served that very critical function of post-incident management.
Exactly. When you talk about post-incident management, also it comes down to also the Mpesa itself, the location of that Mpesa establishment.
Yes.
Most Mpesas, you find that somebody with ill motive will come up with any devious way to know you as a soft target or a hard target.
Yes.
So somebody would come and ask an Mpesa agent, do you have float of like 50,000? I want to withdraw. Then the Mpesa person gladly says that
I have a float of 100,000.
I have a float of 100,000. I can be able to make that transaction possible. What have you done?
You've given away some very vital information.
Exactly. The question should be, I want to withdraw.
How much?
How much?
Fine. Withdraw. Go ahead.
Yes. Or no, don't withdraw. You've protected information.
There's a critical one. Man, I've heard all these stories for ages now. And it's such a simple thing, and M-Pesa people must take care of this with the vital,
seriousness
that it deserves. A lot of guys have had to lose monies and have had to also line people up for the same fate by just lacking in that attention, the momentary suspension of consciousness. Someone rocks up at an M-Pesa and he says, oh, my phone just ran out of charge.
Could you charge?
Could you charge for me? Or could I, would I ask my friend to actually send number into your phone?
Yes.
Because 9 out of 10, the M-Pesa agent right there has their personal phone, apart from the M-Pesa phone. So what's been happening and what I've been exposed to is someone says, oh, so I can pretty much, so you actually have money sent by whoever. They call that person from your phone or from wherever, and they tell him, oh, send the money to this person. So in the meantime, the M-Pesa person is struggling with managing a lot of information here, and money has been sent to them or something, so they go to withdraw and give this person cash. Your number is known on the other hand. Then the other bit is, these people they do a bit of study, so they have a lot of information around what happens. You're an agent, and there's a super agent somewhere, there's the owner. So they find the owner. Most of the time people say them as boss so-and-so. So what they do is they actually switch. They check the numbers, edit the way they save them, and they save someone else's number as boss. Okay? So they get back and say, hey, we actually want to withdraw like 20, 40,000 shillings.
Yeah.
Do you have that float or something? So what happens is a boss now calls or texts like, oh, send money to this party, deposit to this guy 20, 30,000 shillings, and here the ID credentials, or ID number. So without thinking, the agent there just forward money because the message has come from the boss. Okay, so that has happened quite a few times. And all it needs to take, just that momentary switching on that consciousness. As Ayn Rand did say, the basic human vice is that of our suspension of our consciousness. And of course, our being not ignorant, but refusing to know. Our refusal to not blindness, but our refusal to see. So it's right here, and most of the people, you get them and they've suffered the serious losses, and they say, oh, your boss texted me, but all they didn't do is just to place that complaint. Me, I would do this. 9 out of 10, I would call, hey, Kingsley, I just got a message from here, because it would look suspicious. I would go, hey, Kings, come on, did you require me to send so-and-so 50,000 shillings? I mean, it's just that. So I feel part and parcel of the security and safety of our outlets, be it wines and spirits, be it these Mpesa outlets or small-time retail outlets, that have a number of human traffic that end up being collateral damage when threats manifest, is the fact that, again, as you said very profoundly, they also need to benefit from a level of security risk assessment.
It's paramount. Paramount. As I said, security is built in, not on. So you find that level of security risk analysis or assessment will bring all these threats to light. And the mitigation measures put in place will be dealt with in the same. When you want to put an establishment, the same way you would want your architect to be very accurate when it comes to the
drawings
metrics,
and everything. Much as in Kenya, it's a different ballgame. You have people quacks also as architects doing.
So it brings up the level of vigilance and just purposely wanting to have the best of services. If you, as the Mpesa owner or the Mpesa agent, feel safe, then customers will also feel safe.
Absolutely.
And that will make will make operational continuity for your business. So if we look at security and safety as an afterthought, then that is when we'll become more of reactive instead of being proactive. So these measures are not just meant for this big establishment. We start from the grassroots. Once we look at the root causes, then we'll not be treating the symptoms, as I always say. So it is important for the Mpesa agent or the wines and spirit agent to be more vigilant.
And as we said, and as we know it, these things and this environment is absolutely dynamic as well. The bandings that you put up with regards to protection of your installations may not be the absolute key. And so, as we've basically overemphasized here, the purpose for security and safety is something that's built in and it's not built on. Bandits want to be helpful, and some minor adjustments here and there, and the false sense of security that you may be basking on and thinking that nothing has happened in the past, so it won't happen anyway, may be your absolute killer for the next one. So, as we insist and as we request, this is going to be a platform that provides and dilute information as regards to security, and we can discuss this until else can go home. So remember to subscribe, share, and give us that vital feedback that's going to be allowing us to also benefit from whatever is out there that we may not know about, and that could actually be vital for us to have that exchange that's going to take this to the next one.